So Mediaite reports Twitter employees explode over Musk deal. Cue the layoffs. Oh, no. Maybe. I bet a lot of these people are going to quit. Donnie O'Sullivan says the reaction from Twitter employees on Team Blind, an app that allows people at different companies to post anonymously, is something to behold. Here's one. So we've got an angry, triggered billionaire going to own us, who's looking for vengeance. The worst financial market in years. Hiring freezes everywhere. Q4 is looking great. Twitter employees heard the news of the latest development in Musk's potential purchase while they were in a meeting discussing the company's goals in 2023. Living the plot of succession is effing exhausting. Ramin Chowdhury, Twitter's director of machine learning, ethics, transparency, and accountability, tweeted in reaction to the Musk news. Donnie O'Sullivan said, this Twitter employee sums up what I'm hearing from folks inside the company today. And that's too bad. EJ Sampson says, I encourage every Twitter employee to go outside and take a walk.
Yes.
Never boring over here. Yeah, congratulations, Twitter employees. You know, it's just the weirdest thing. The cult is the weirdest thing to me. You know, they just, in order to be in this cult, you have to not read the news ever. And so we'll get into this in a little bit, but I was talking about BLM and Kanye West earlier on my other show. And if you look at Democrats, or if you look at 18 to 35-year-olds, they have tremendous net support for BLM. And then you look at every other demographic and it's just like underwater. Independent voters, it's net a negative 12 net support. Only Democrats support them. And I'm like, it's the perfect example. These people are freaking out because the only way the cult exists is that they isolate people from information. The only reason why these young people support BLM is because they don't read the news. They're more subject driven and not object driven. So you get older, you start focusing more on your family, you start reading the news and seeing what's going on in the world, and you say, oh, okay, here's what's happening. When you're younger, you're like, what are my friends doing? What are my friends talking about? And your friends will just all repeat whatever lies are filtered to them. This is obviously why these people in particular, well, they're losing their minds over this. The cult is going to implode without Twitter. I mean, they have Tumblr, I guess, you know, but I don't know how much that's going to do for them.
Well, it's funny watching these people just switch like immediately. The same people saying, "Oh, Twitter's a private company; they could do whatever they want." Not everybody needs to be on the platform. Now they're like, "Oh, now we're regulated." Or
what did we do?
No, not that.
Now you have proposals from the White House, right, calling to
censor the internet.
Yeah, AI Bill of Rights.
Yeah,
that's what they came out with. The Hill did an article on this today.
What was it, Democrats?
The White House. So I'm guessing,
yes,
whoever works there who really knows.
And this is basically you can't get banned.
Yeah, you have the right to a person as opposed to an algorithm. Like it's just a list. It's a proposal. You know that's going to go through.
Well, it's
Congress.
funny how it switches like almost immediately.
Yeah.
Our people aren't in charge
The
anymore.
same day.
So now
it happened today.
Us.
Exactly.
So obviously, a lot of people at Twitter will be scrambling with this news today. According to the New York Post, 68% of Twitter employees disapprove of Musk and his vision for Twitter, and for what he sees for the company that especially wants to make sure that people are going to be at the workplace and not just doing all the work at home. But it's not just Twitter employees that are going to be scrambling here. It's also a lot of government officials who are now going to be like, okay, now we have to prevent this from happening, because once you open the floodgates of free speech, you have the potential of really making the world a better place. You have the potential of exposing a lot of sinister, nefarious things in our existence that could be stopped through transparency and accountability. The government is deathly afraid of this, and I could see new rules, new regulations when it comes to social media, as already they have a lot of secret orders. They have a lot of secret actions that they take part in, as we recently learned from Alex Berenson, that they are the ones, the federal government, the White House, ordering the censorship of political voices of scientists, of doctors, medical professionals, and even memers. And individuals who, of course, do parody accounts of Dr. Fauci have all had their accounts shut down because the federal government and the Biden administration said, no, we can't allow this, which is absolutely crazy.
And they're not going to be able to censor those New York Post articles.
Well, Elon Musk also a couple days ago was interacting with the CEO of Rumble, and he was showing interest in working with Rumble before this major acquisition of Twitter, which he now has announced as of today. So there's also that as well.
There is something called the Twitter Trusted Partnership and Twitter Partner Support portal that allows the government to issue censorship orders. Twitter agreed to comply with this to avoid regulatory oversight. There's an art. This was a few years ago where this happened, and there's one newspaper that covered it because nobody's going to talk about that. It was the NC Daily Gazette. Yeah, I have
The
that.
question, I guess, is will these woke people stay on Twitter? Because their argument is, if Elon buys Twitter, we're leaving. It's like, oh yeah, where?
Where?
Where are you going? Where are you going to go? You're gonna
Facebook?
go,
I mean, if they
they're
go
gonna-
somewhere else,
they're going to go to Gab.
Yeah.
If they go somewhere else, I mean, the Amazon and Google will allow it, unlike with the Parler, right?
Right.
So
but Mastodon's
maybe.
been around for a while, and it's like this very, very leftist version of Twitter. It's so woke that when who's that guy who played that annoying kid on Star Trek? That everybody Will Wheaton. There you go.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, even when he left Twitter and went there, they banned him.
Oh my
Like
god.
that's how woke and far left they are. They were like, "No, Will Wheaton, you're a fascist," and he's like an annoying liberal dude. So I mean, they tried, it didn't work. Yeah, I think it's going to be a dramatic shift. There's one dude from NBC who's claiming this is funny. This tweet where he's like, "Now that they're going private, the rules can be whatever they want," and it's just like you've literally been advocating for that the whole time. That's literally what they do. But what they're really showing is that they are terrified they have lost control of the narrative machine. And the crazy thing about it is Elon Musk isn't even proposing to go into Twitter and ban left. Ban the left. This is what they're arguing. They're like, Trump's going to, they're like, Elon's going to be deplatforming people and banning leftists. It's like literally the opposite of everything he's advocated for.
Yeah, he's not going to do that at all. He wants to bring the people back who've been unfairly banned.
Well, that's the problem, I guess. The left is like, when we get power, we will destroy you. And when the right gets power, they're like, no, we'll be
Let you
fair.
do what you want.
We'll let you do what you want. Yeah, we'll leave you
How
alone.
dare you?
Well, even in the disclosures of Elon Musk's text messages, there's one conversation he had with an anonymous Twitter employee that's not named because of the, quote, sensitive nature of the conversation. The sensitive nature of this conversation was, quote, how to let right-wingers back on Twitter.
Whoa.
So this is
navigate that.
Into that.
This is an official text message that was happening between Elon Musk and an employee at Twitter that's anonymous.
What'd it say?
That's pretty big. I could send you the copy of it right now, or I could just tweet it out right now. But the DMs and the private messages, some of them are leaked, and people could read them online, and they really do tell a very interesting tale of what's happening behind the scenes here.
We need to get a video ready of like Trump suiting up, like putting his shoes on and then walking and straightening his tie. And he's like, I'm back. That's all I care about, bring Trump back, because there were so many journalists when he got banned. There were these threads where journalists were like, I would have to have my phone on alert because it was my job. And so I would get an alert at 3 a.m. They'd like, my boss would be calling me being like, Trump tweeted, write it up. And they'd be like, it's 3 a.m. This is one of the reasons I think so many journalists probably hated Trump, because he would tweet at like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
They'd have to wake up and then
That's
be like,
probably why he did it.
write the story like Trump says something about North Korea. I don't know what's going on. And then everybody's like, I wish the guy would just play ball and just do what he's told. Instead, he pisses off all these journalists, so they just write lies about him endlessly.
I think a lot of Twitter is a consensus between the bots, between the bands of the right-wing people. It's about finding consensus. So when people who aren't that, same thing with, you have the media, you have Hollywood, you have big tech, you have the corporate press, you have the government, the career politicians, you have socialism everywhere. It's everywhere. And I think a lot of that is about consensus. And it's so when somebody who's maybe an armchair, they vote, so they're going to go and they're going to research and they're going to find everybody thinks this way. Nobody thinks that way. So that way must be bad, So that's my idea, is that they use Twitter kind of as a machine for consensus.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens with these elections coming up in November with Elon Musk if he takes over by then. And I'm already getting messages. I was scrolling through Facebook today, notifications, and they were saying, well, we're gonna, there's gonna be, I didn't read through all of it, but it seemed like they were priming you to be ready for censored content when the election comes up. And so it's like they're already sending us warnings, like there's something's coming.
Yeah, Josie, you're definitely right, and I would even go further. Absolutely, big tech social media is used as a tool, not just for consensus, but for manipulation.
Yes.
And there are bots. There's a lot of bots. There's a lot of sock puppet accounts. There's a lot of government officials. The Israeli government even announced this 15 years ago, that they're hiring individuals to set consensus online to, of course, spread the messaging that's more favorable towards their government. If you think the US government is not doing this, if you think the Chinese government and the Russian government is not doing this, you're absolutely kidding yourself. And there's a lot of bots. It's estimated, according through a lot of accounting, that a lot of the most popular accounts have the most amount of bots, since bots are usually following those accounts. Like Biden is expected, according to some estimates, having at least 49.3% of his entire Twitter followers to be bots, to be fake. So when you look at the consensus and when you look at what people really think and you look at the reality on Twitter, it's a totally different reality. There's a Quincy poll showing how the majority of Americans, 57% of them, want negotiations, want to end the war in Ukraine as soon as possible. But that wasn't reflected in the Elon Musk poll that he did, asking around the similar question of peace in Ukraine. So what's really going on here? Obviously, there's a lot of manipulation behind the scene that we don't even know about.
War is very profitable, incredibly profitable. So we have a recession, so they're not fixing that. They're making it worse. How could they fix it with a snap of a fingers? War.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. But if you want to check out the full show live, tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want more special access content, head over to timcast.com and become a member. Your membership helps sustain this company, keep our journalists employed, makes this show happen, and you will get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast, and there's a massive library to check out. So again, go to timcast.com or tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.